Why is the fifth chapter of Designing the Purposeful Organisation about character? It seems to cover a lot about culture change.
It's very interesting, the difference between the word character and the word culture. Culture is really about how people behave in different contexts, whether they be national contexts, corporate contexts, and so on and so forth. And people are actually used to using the word culture in corporate life. However, when we talk about how we behave, we don't use the word culture, we actually talk about my character. And the whole idea of the book is that you can take the learning from it and apply it at the highest level for the organisation, right down to any individual. And actually the word character translates to both. So that's why we've deliberately used it, because it's also nice to think about an organisation having character. It gives it a kind of a purposeful feel to it.
And then what is the link between character or culture of an organisation? What's the link with that and purpose?
Well, if you think about the culture of an organisation, what it's like to work somewhere, it may or may not have some relationship with where the organisation is going. In fact, very often the culture of an organisation has been developed over history and may not be relevant to the future of the organisation. So by making a conscious effort to ask, what is this organisation about, and importantly, where is it going and at what rate, then we can start to ask some more informed questions about what does the organisation need to be like in order to deliver the purpose and deliver its vision. So it's making that conscious link between where the organisation is going and how people behave within it that helps organisations to become focused and effective.
I discovered from the book that there are many ways of measuring and managing culture. Could you explain at headline level some of these and how they work?
Yeah, there are many different ways of measuring a culture, but we talk about some of the ones that at Prime East we've had a great deal of experience with and that seem to work in the context of the clients that we serve. So for example, we talk about GlobeSmart, and GlobeSmart is probably the world's best diagnostic for understanding the behaviours in an organisation in a way that you can compare it to how business is done in different parts of the world. So for example, if I'm working in a big pharmaceutical company and wanting to open up a business in Africa or in Asia, and I want to know how to do business, I need to understand how we operate compared to how business is done in that part of the world. That helps us be prepared and actually be more successful in our commercial operations. So GlobeSmart is one of the tools that we talk about. And then there are two other tools which are looking at the actual corporate culture that are very good for diagnosing what the behaviours are in an organisation now, and importantly what they need to be like in order to deliver the vision. And the two tools that we talk about, first of all, Barrett Values Centre have something called cultural transformation tools that basically measure the values that people are actually seeing and witnessing in their day-to-day work within that organisation. And with Barrett, you can actually focus on those values and understand how they play out, including negative values like blame and things like that. You can see what's actually going on. And they also measure those values over something called 7 levels of consciousness, which is absolutely interesting and powerful, and I would recommend it wholeheartedly to organisations and people in OD. The final tool is one by Human Synergistics, and this is a tool that I've been using now for nearly 20 years. And what Human Synergistics does is it looks at the cultural norms within an organisation. What do you need to be like in order to fit in around here? And it basically looks at 12 different styles. And the power of Human Synergistics is that you can measure the organisation as it is, where it needs to be, and the power is also that you can measure individual leaders to see how they fit in as they see themselves and as others see them. And when you get into a coaching arena, that is valuable information in order to coach somebody to make the change in leadership that's necessary for the organisation in question.
And how should an organisation decide what method is right for them?
Well, basically, it's about being aware of the different methods that are available. And I would recommend talking to a practitioner that's got experience in all the different methods. Because, for example, if you've got an organisation that's just gone through 2 or 3 years of trying to get some corporate values embedded and understood by the organisation, you may not want to start doing diagnosis around values. You may want to look at something else. So it's really important to understand what's going on in an organisation so that you can choose your methods for measuring and managing the change carefully.